Hi, my name is Aaron Curtis. My presentation today, as you can see on the right side of my monitor, is SQL, the SQL like operator. Um, Back out here a bit. The browser. Uh, here is fairly straightforward and simple. Um, Real quick, I apologize. I do have to present it like this because this is a single monitor. And so if I actually try and do the presentation, we'll cover up the entire monitor and you won't be able to see my examples or me running the code on in the database here in a moment. But the SQL-like operator, a couple things to remember. It's used in a where clause. It's used to search for patterns in words. Um, and if you think about it, like, I'm looking for this where this is like this. That's kind of the description. It's almost flows from the mouth. Um, so there are two wildcard operators that function differently but together. It is the percent sign and the underscore. The sorry. So the syntax is like this: select these columns from the table where this column like, and then you list the pattern. So if you read this as if it were you reading it from a book, it would sound something like, um, I want to see these columns or select these columns, this information from this paragraph, this column, this in a database example would be from this table, where this section or this column displays this or is like this. Um, so that's the syntax. Something to keep in mind, and I don't think I included it in here. You'll see it in the examples, but you always have to surround the pattern in single quotes. So just to keep that in mind. Now, the percent, and this is kind of my summation of the difference between the two wildcard characters. There are going to be a few more uh, additions to it. This is not a complete description of them, but it's just a summation. So the percent sign is I almost view it as a multi-character wild card. Um, for example, the A percent sign would represent any value that starts with an A, whereas percent A would represent any value that ends with an A. The underscore is a single character wildcard. And the example I give here is underscore R percent would find any value that has R in the second position. So in this example, underscore R, you're skipping one position with the underscore R, and then there's the percent sign, which covers multiple characters, multiple potential lengths. Another example would be A underscore um, A underscore percent would find a value that starts with an A and has a minimum of at least 3 characters. Then A percent O finds any value that starts with an A and ends with an O. Just something to keep in mind. Now I put together 4 examples. This is based off of our current database that we have, our Acme database. And so some of these are examples where we or an administrator might need to find specific information. Uh, for example, you may want to find this one is I'm going to select the inventory name. So I want to know the name of whatever this inventory. They're in the inventory database, excuse me, in the inventory table, where the inventory price begins with a 1. Now, you obviously can get more. It may be where inventory price begins with the 1 and has at least 3 characters. You can get fairly complicated in the pattern, but This is really just an example. Now, as I was testing my code previous to this, something you need to recognize is this pattern. It will not recognize this pattern quite yet. And you'll see here in just a moment. If I delete one of those and then add it back, the system, the database, now it's highlighted in red. Now it's recognizing it as a variable. I guess you could call it that. Prior to it would have given me a SQL syntax error. But now I click go, and these are all of the inventory items that have a price that begins with 1, the number 1. So then in my examples over here, this is another one. This is basically saying, hey, I want to know all of the inventory items, all the names of inventory items from the inventory table where the description has the word best somewhere in it. So let's go to SQL again. Once again, I apologize for this. It doesn't like me copying and pasting this in here. But then, so the catapult, the monster rubber band, and the roadrunner custom birdseed mix all have the word best in their description. And those are just some examples of how we may, how we could create a potential function where, if someone wants to find a specific inventory item, but wants to filter it. These work great for, you could set up filter functions using the like operator. Now for clients, in the client table, let's go do that. There's some good examples. I don't have a lot of clients currently built. As you can tell by the client ID, I have created quite a few, but I've also cleaned out quite a few. So going to the SQL tab, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste my code in here. So what this is saying is I want to find all of my clients. I want a list of all my clients' names that have an email address that ends in com. So, the other options would be net or edu. It's just something to keep in mind. That, hey, you know what? I want to know how many people do I have that have a .com email address. Or you could include more. Maybe you want to know a specific domain, Gmail or Hotmail or whatever, Yahoo, whatever it might be. And in this case, there's only one because the super user, the admin user, actually has a .NET email address. So that functions. Another option, and this I can see being more utilized in our examples, is this one. I want to know email address for everybody for every client in my email. I want to know the email address for all the clients in my database where the first name starts with A and the name is at least 3 characters long. The reason why I wanted to do the 3 characters long is because it's almost an error check. There aren't a lot of names out there that have less than 1 character or have less than 3 characters. There probably are a number, but not a lot. Some people, when they're filling out registration information, just A tab, A tab, A tab, fill it out as quickly as possible. And if I'm trying to create an email campaign, for example, as I want to pull out all of those email addresses that are going to be valid. I want to avoid sending junk email and avoid spending my resources and time on that. So this is a brief error check. And once again, hey, I have 2 where the client first name begins with A. And I honestly had forgotten. I wasn't thinking of admin A, but there you go. If you have any questions on this, please don't hesitate to send me an email, send me a shout out, give me a call, and I'll be able to work through this and help you out, help you understand it. Have a great day and enjoy my video. Thank you.